a fizz.
There we go, 3 seconds in. I think I've given up name and number in them because I lose track.
Great.
Always say that at the beginning.
Great.
It's the Cornish Sea Kitchen Podcast, the occasional series of chats with people I know, like. Sometimes I don't know them, I just want to know more about them. There's Graham Bradshaw from, you'll know his face from Markets, Cornish Sea Salt. That's what I know him from. But obviously there's a life before salt. There may be life after salt, who knows.
Yeah.
Welcome
Great.
to our humble
thanks for
abode.
the invite. Actually, visit your lovely little restaurant here, or go to kitchen and everything. It's brilliant. Yeah.
So
I've been hoping you'd invite me. I just fancied it.
you should just be asked. It started off as chefs, and then it was just like more interesting things between the questions. So we dropped the questions, and it became your story in hospitality.
Yeah.
And then, you're a supplier, so that counts as hospitality.
Yeah.
Previously, anyway, let's start at the beginning. Where were you born?
Right. Born Falmouth.
Proper Cornish boy.
Yeah. And like most people, ended up at Cornwall College.
Right.
As schooling in Falmouth and Cornwall College.
Studying
catering. Amborn Tech, as it was known then.
Right.
With various chefs, sort of renowned chefs, Tom Chivers, Jerry Boriosi, Robert Martin, Dave Trevina. Taught us all, because basically in Cornwall, that's what you did. Hospitality was huge then. I would say, coming from Falmouth, the seafront was littered with hotels, and that's where we worked the evenings and weekends, as well as doing the college work. But I always favoured the front of house bit.
Right.
Like the cooking, I had a go at it, and a few disasters here and there, but we used to get lots of jobs come in where hotels and restaurants and that would ring in asking for help, various restaurants and that didn't have enough staff, and that's how we learned the trade at various Newquay hotels, still going out there, London, Bristol, those sort of ones.
So shipped in for
fun.
functions.
Yeah, we were, it was great
Christmas
fun.
And all that.
And then we progressed on from there. So obviously you did the 2 or 3 years at Cornwall College. Everyone encouraged to go to London to work, which it was a huge push then. You had to go to London before you returned. But whilst I was going through college, old schoolmate of mine, Steve Gilbert, and myself, we took a different angle. We were enjoying music, and we went into the mobile disco world. Alongside what we were doing with catering, he was doing some bar work, but he's actually doing an engineering course as well. Anyway, one thing led to another. The music side was taking over a bit more, so we progressed, obviously, through college. He went to university. I went to the Royal Duchy Hotel and did front of house there, worked my way up to restaurant manager, which was happy with the parents and all that sort of thing.
Proper job.
Yeah, velvet jacket with a big bow tie.
Oh, now we're talking.
So
we're looking
call them in
80s?
Yeah, early 80s.
Early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah. And and huge banquets then of 200 or 300, licensed victualers, banquets, police ball, all of that. Huge events that Cornwall had. And having the experience of Cornwall College was well helped by a guy at Cornwall College who in charge of a restaurant called Jim Dobbin, and another guy called Peter Krause, that were what I called experts in the front of house scene. So I felt I was well groomed on what I was doing. But like a lot of things in life, you're not happy. And Steve and myself got together, and it wasn't happy with the family, but we broke off, and basically we went into the music business and went into running a mobile disco. But it was a mobile disco where it was full of it was a party set up, which going through the 80s and 90s suited everybody. A huge stage of people doing games, and we just gelled really. We'd been together since school, because it was like being brothers. That actually lasted from 1979 to 2009.
Jesus.
So we
That's
actually did 30 years of it.
Wow.
Yeah, the 29 New Year's Eves. Excuse me, spent most of the time going between here and Newquay. But in the middle of it was the London stint that everybody in Cornwall was supposed to have. We went up to London and we applied to various agencies. You had to have that, you'd be with an agency work. And we came across a guy through various contacts called William Bartholomew, whose wife Caroline Bartholomew was once one of Princess Diana's flatmates.
Okay.
So, although we never got to meet the great lady, the link was massive there with the work in London, and what we were doing was well accepted. So we spent a bit of time at her doing all the parties, different life to Cornwall, where we were living near the North Circular, and the guy said to us, you've got to leave at 1 o'clock for your evening gig, and we were obviously coming from Falmouth, we used to leaving at about 6:30, so the whole life changed, and it really set us off, and the plan was we could have stayed, but like a lot of things, you're missing Cornwall. So we noticed that we only work we could get in the London area was through agencies, and we worked out there wasn't one in Cornwall.
Right.
So we came back, this is in the middle of our 30-year stint, and set up an agency as well called Kerno Entertainments. And we ended up using the experience we gained through working through agents, supplying the hotels in Cornwall, hotels, holiday centres, just taking a different angle really, bands, DJs, comedians.
Right.
And we touched on, as we like to think we got it working well, a decent office in Falmouth with a recording studio and all that sort of stuff. And we touched on a little bit of celebrity stuff. Ended up doing a hell of a lot of work with Jethro, our famous Cornish comedian, became a very good friend of ours. And that led us to lots of other different, not massively in the celebrity world, because it's still Cornwall. There's booking various bands, various bands from the 60s and 70s and that sort of thing. And of course, having done the DJing side, we knew how they worked, we knew how long they did, the lighting, the sound and all of that. And that was a nice progression. And
okay,
that
you can name drop now. What's the biggest band that you booked or
well, there were
worked with?
60s bands, really. There were 60s, 70s bands. The biggest stars we booked at the time, that was the more fun of it, was people like Roger de Courcy, Nookie Bear, Keith Harrison, Orville, because they were huge names. But Jethro was the biggest setup, and he led us into a lot of good contacts, really. Yeah. But band-wise, all the 60s and 70s stuff, swinging blue jeans, all that sort of thing, because they just love Cornwall, they love coming down here. Talk of the West had finished over at St Agnes, and they were just looking for gigs, and we were putting them in all sorts of hotels were getting in on it, 60s, 70s weekends. Yeah. So that was basically the crux of it. Had a great time doing it. Got towards what would have been, coming up 2008-9. I think the world was changing a bit. Fun pubs were coming in. Chicago Rock was coming in, where people go for what was chicken in a basket then, and a dance afterwards. Dinner dances were thinning. They weren't becoming very popular anymore. I'm sure as a chef you would have cooked at many. And hotels were changing, and then the Newquay scene was turning into apartments. And our little world was slowly thinning away. And one thing led to another, and Steve moved back to Launceston. I carried on in Falmouth for about a year or two, and then got to know through the family a chap called Tony Fraser that had set up Cornish Sea Salt, and he most bizarrely they just rung me and said, "You've done events, haven't you?" I thought, "Yeah, that sort of thing." They said, "Would you like to take this Cornish product out on the road?" And it was that bizarre, and you put the phone down and think, I suppose I could do that really. Anyway, one thing led to another, so they taught me about the product. I knew about working in different places. What I didn't know was, because they were trying to launch it nationally, was working in places like the NEC and NEC and all the major big venues, and working with people like James Martin and Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall, all these, I know the household names, but then they were building their careers. So this was quite bizarre. I remember sitting outside in the van of the NEC with a van load of just Cornish Sea Salt crystals and no flavours or anything like that. And he said, "Right, you're going in, you're working with James Martin, you've got 2 hours to set up." And it was just surreal. I thought, I'm going to have to do this. And because I've been in a partnership for 30 years, we're still good friends, we still catch up now. But I was on my own, and this was it, and right off I went. Anyway, one thing. So it was just a complete. It was just gained to know, through a family, through
just leap from one industry.
Ellie Bradshaw, she was working for them, and Philip Tanswell, who's still there as the MD, was a great help to me as well. And and I met him. Tony's since passed away a few years ago from motor neurone. It was very sad, but he'd set up a great product, and it was just that random call because I'd done events, and that was the link. So anyway, you come back to basics, and I end up doing like Lostwithiel Village Hall and Grampound Village Hall and Stiddians Village Hall, where there was farmers markets, but they were very small.
Yeah.
Now we're talking now probably 18, 19 years ago, and I still use that analogy now with our new traders at Truro Farmers Market and anywhere else I go, that those places are great places to cut your teeth, sort of thing, really, in the farmers market food world, if you know what I mean. And then I progressed up there and did more bookings at River Cottage. I then started going Bristol Harbour side for things like the Grill Fest. As the salt got more popular, they were phoning me with jobs where they'd been asked to attend, and they said, well, we'd like you to do it for us. I was never really full-time. It was just a gentleman's agreement from day one, and still is now.
Oh, I love that.
And we have a great relationship.
I love the fact. I've always often thought, because you think, you're the only guy you see out on the road. I'm thinking, has he got some sort of license with them, some sort of agreement in place that you're the guy that does markets, you're the guy that will be out there with the public. And when you find out that it's a handshake, gentleman's agreement, I love it. And I love the fact that that can still go on and mean something.
They seem to like it like that, and it seems to work for both of us. I did spend a bit of time there full time learning how to make the salt and that, and goodness me, that was hard work. That was literally shoveling the salt out of the pans onto the dryer and that. Goodness me, I'd never forget that. When I turned up, dressed like I am today, and the guy said, you need your shorts and your t-shirt on. After 10 minutes, I knew exactly what he meant.
Wow.
The heat in there, and this was still done on the beach, on the Lizard, at Polgwara, Porthcaris, where it's all harvested, still done there. And it just touched people's imagination. They loved it, and they still do now.
Well, I think I first saw you at festivals.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Boscastle maybe was the first one.
That was lovely.
That was a lovely little festival. I missed that one. But I think we clicked because I was just looking around for, at stuff like you do.
Well, you had to do a demo, didn't you?
And you were like, he's a consummate salesman and opportunist, and as I am. That not an angle, but there are certain people that kind of get it.
Yeah.
What's his name? The butcher. I went round, it might have even been the same festival. No, it was Expo years and years ago.
Is it Warren?
No, the guy that does Gavin Roberts.
Does the sausages.
Was Kerno sausage. Now he does. Does the mobile butchery and dispatching. Anyway, he's supposed to do a podcast. He's the one that slipped by the way. We'll get on to him again. And I was going around looking, and I think the thing we were going to do for a demo is stuff from this festival. And it could be an expo, it could be a festival. I think it might be an expo. And he said, I was just looking at it, and chef jacket, and kind of clicks. He goes, oh yeah, how anything you want? Oh, apart from that joint, because it's guess your weight joint, and it's a prize. I went,
brilliant.
So like, yeah. And I thought, yeah, you get it. I'm going to be on stage, I'm going to be talking about your product. Where I got it.
And I had good sales because of that. And that was the idea, that we got it to people like yourselves to use. And then you helped. You helped me.
It's. I was at Expo last week. And I do it for Dole Foods. I'm not a salesman. I can't sell something I don't like. No. I can tell them, come and speak to Dole reps about prices and deliveries.
But you're an important part of the team.
But I do it because I like them. I've been a customer 20 odd years when it was Total Produce, and it might have had another name before that. But the same people treat you like, and I was a small, tiny account, but they treat you like kings. And you go, I like this company. Colin's brilliant.
I've been there for years.
Is my rep. So, and it's the same with the salt. If you like the product, it's very easy to go on stage and go, Cornish Sea Salt, and then you start bringing the flavours. And the smoke stuff which you brought today.
Flavours were a winner for us. That suddenly introduced us to the home cooking market, and that as long as it may continue, that has been absolutely excellent. I still do Royal Cornwall Show, which is still the big one of the lot. Obviously, I know Expo S is still a good one. That's more for trade.
Yeah.
But the Royal Cornwall, yeah, my partner Hannah helps me on that one, and she does events as well, and she's been a great help in sort of steering me with how the stand looks now, because obviously girls do it better than guys. I've always thought, really. I had great help in the beginning because we had great big stands in the beginning and all that sort of thing, but we don't. There's not the space now, and obviously events are expensive now, which is why we don't do so many of the bigger ones, but we still attend as many as we can. But Royal Cornwall is a great one to still meet the people.
Yeah.
Still
That's the thing. I mean, that's what got me into the market. Truro farmers market a few years ago now, when just ducking and diving and trying stuff out.
Yeah.
And we'd done the duck truck.
Yeah, oh yes, with Steve Marsh. Yeah.
With Steve Marsh.
Yeah.
And Roger was there.
Yeah, Roger Olver.
And we hadn't really got our product. We got the product because it was Roger's product. It was all
lovely,
perfect. But we hadn't got the truck set up. But we did. Was it Festival of Lights?
Yes, that's right.
We did that. Roger had to be there because we were using his public liability insurance. We were winging it completely, and I had a great time. And that was my introduction to Troy's Farmers Market.
Brilliant.
And then we went and did the duck truck for a couple of years. And then when I did a market at the showground.
Oh yes, yeah.
Because came up on Facebook. Stalls available for this weekend. People have dropped out. They were dirt cheap. I think it was 30 quid, 20 quid, something like that.
Yeah.
I reckon I could put a stall together. You know, make some sticky tofu, put in. That'll be my stall. I'll do a stall like that.
Yeah.
And we did all right.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went, there are other markets. Knew you at that market. I didn't know you were the chairman.
No.
I'd been there a while before I realised that you...
Quite chuffed with that position, yeah.
Because I think it was there was a Christmas radio thing.
Yeah, that's right.
There were, even though it was in TV and everything, just like, this is Graham and the chairman of the market traders. I was like, I thought it was just Graham, the salt guy. I didn't realise he was chairman. But very helpful, very helpful in getting me on there and steering me in the right direction. So that when we ended up doing crepes and other stuff.
Well, you were a great addition to us.
We loved it.
Food to Go was a new introduction to the market because it had never been very strong. I've been there about 12 years now. I was chairman for 7. I've just finished now. Handed over to Scott now from the Chili's. He'll take it on to another level. We've gone from 12 stalls to 35 to 40 on a Saturday now. Still kept it local. Still on Lemon Key. It's a bit difficult at the moment because it's like a building site, but when the investment is done. But the Food to Go, when you came along, that's what was needed.
Yeah.
And I think you introduced us to a few others as well, that a Thai one and 1 or 2 other ones that just helped us a little bit, rather than just being a retail market.
Yeah.
And we've now got Smoky Longhorn there doing very well, and whole various ones like that. And again, for yourselves, I always think it's a nice stepping stone because you used to advertise, you do private dining and that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it was great.
When you're a private chef
Yeah.
and I was borrowing kitchens to do my stuff, you don't have a shop window.
No.
You don't have, when I had the bistro, people could know where I was 24 hours a day. They just drop
They
in.
can taste what you cook.
But you can talk to people, and you can talk to people, you never know where it's going to lead.
They can come up with a bizarre menu and you say, well, it will work for this number, but it might not for this.
Or they have requests to do whatever.
Yes.
And I had lots of leads from just being on the market.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the market.
Yeah.
And,
again, it's a good stepping stone because one of our young chaps who go from the Cornish Italian, he's now gone on to his restaurant now, and Valentino, another Italian as well, went on to another restaurant. So it can be for the younger ones.
And you got Magic Whisk there.
Yeah, Mate doing great.
Unbelievable quality.
We've reintroduced the Truro Food Festival now with Stuart as our manager, which you come and demo, which is lovely. That stopped for a while, different organisers, and we revived it. Well, Stuart did with a little team around him. I was part of that for about 3 or 4 years ago, and now that's nudging quite nicely. So the future looks good, even though things are tough and all of that. But hospitality in Cornwall and
it's always
good food people like.
It's always I always say that hospitality is really good at changing its offering, really good at adapting to the market.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes.
Box meals from restaurants weren't a thing. COVID sort of brought that in, and now there's big big restaurants in this county that are still doing that on, you know.
Yeah, yes.
Because it's a brand new market.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the Just Eats and stuff, but
Yes.
actually having, you know, your favourite chef produce something in a box that you can finish off, that was brand new, and that came out of necessity, as all things sort of have to do.
The radio interviews here doing radio interviews, they liked us because it was local people or local businesses based in Cornwall, where the person could ask them the questions of the provenance of the food. Are these chilies grown here? Where's this
that's
done? Do you produce? You know,
yeah, that's the thing. You know, 9 times out of 10, even probably more than that, you go to Truro Market, the guy behind the counter
is the one.
Is the guy that's roasting the beef, like Morgan, who's, you know, crafting the crafts, making the brisket. You know, that's who you're dealing with. And I think that's really important. Otherwise, you're just a retail place.
We've now got a fair few farmers on there now, which I kind of thought was my signing off point in the fact that's why I really felt we'd made it now. We've now got Tralee Dairy from the Lizard, who's coming in bringing milk in bottles.
Amazing.
People are loving it. They're bringing the bottles each week. We've obviously got St Piran's Pork and Tralee and all these ones. Goonam Growers as well, which is 2 families that do all the vegetables. And obviously Chris Bean is still there, been here 25 years with his fish, massively popular.
Always sells out.
I felt it.
Even
Yes,
like
that's
12
right.
o'clock.
Yeah. Well, in the winter it makes us laugh. We're setting up at 7:30 in the dark, and he's serving. You know, and the customers will come in. So, and again, that's why I did well with this Cornish Sea Salt. Was obviously the more fish he's banging out, the more flavours like the lemon and thyme and the stuff. It's gone great, really. So
what's the future hold? Any plans?
Well, I'm easing back a little bit now. I'm still mentoring a fair few, which is nice. You know, sort of just passing on. They bring me up, and a little bit like you know, different chefs ring you up for different ideas. I'm sure over the years, when you had your Margot's and all those lovely places and that, they ring me up for different shows. Should I do this? Should I do that? You know, and I do enjoy that. But I think the plan in the future, I'm still happy at Truro. We do Wednesdays and Saturdays. Still in rural Cornwall. I'm not going to do so much of the bigger stuff now, but I'm doing lots of ones that I've gone back to my roots a bit, really. There's some lovely ones at like your Luggan and Portreath. I go to Mousehole in the summer, and I'm enjoying going to some lovely little places where I started, really.
And smaller markets.
Yeah, smaller markets, but still selling the product.
I mean, like Weybridge have a monthly.
Yeah, I do the one in the street. I forgot about that. Molesworth Street.
That's a new market that's only going, a year, maybe 2?
Well, we can help a town. This is what because obviously I've worked with quite a lot of organisers that try and set up new markets, and I try and say to them, because there's obviously this field that the shops sometimes think that we're taking the trade from them, but we try and say that we both win. People will come in for a market, and then when the market's done, you've got a chance of getting them, whether it's to buy gifts or coffee, sandwiches or whatever. It doesn't...
Oh, it's exactly the same as Padstow Festival. You had some people moaning that, you know, if they have bars, at the festival, they'll make money. And you go, but your pub would be dead if there wasn't a festival. You're both winning. You'd rather them not make any money, and you not make any money.
At a great time.
You could look at the big picture. I'll be with you in 2.
Oh, please, that's come back to Padstow. That's a nice gig.
That's a different setup now.
Had a good time there, but that involved all the chefs and a lot of new businesses had a chance there, you know, and you can learn a lot by suddenly being plunged into dealing with a few thousand people. Going from a normal market. I learned quickly on that one. My goodness. And Padstow was I say Royal Cornwall's busy. Padstow, that's a cracking gig. And as I say, it's come back now, which is lovely, and some are still out there, you know. But doing some of those big ones can challenge you sometimes, but it's nice. It's a good gig, and you're having a Cornish product. Obviously, the Cornish brand is very strong, but and you get to work with a lot of people. You get to see a lot of people, meet a lot of people.
Well, that's why I do Expo. I mean, they do pay me to be there.
Well,
instead of me going around and spending an hour,
we come to see you.
Everybody comes to see me, and we have a chat. And it may not even be any benefit to Dole whatsoever, but I can stand in one place.
It's a massive lot of PR there. You know, we go up from the farmers market. I try and take the new traders up and say, go and have a look around. You'll be amazed at what you can buy and you see and packaging or
and I think the biggest skill is just talking to the public.
You
know, on a market stall, I mean, I don't know if I told you the story about you have I think the Jehovah's Witnesses, right, up there on the underpass every morning on a Saturday. I think it's Saturday.
That's right, yeah.
And they have their magazine rack.
That's right.
And go past, they don't even say good morning. I'm like, I say good morning, because I say good morning. Yeah. And there was a couple of ladies there, and they was like, this morning, and this is morning. And I just kind of turned back, I said, you're going to have to up your game, where you're selling crepes, helicopters, ball bearings, a belief system. You've got to engage. Because it would be in my bonnet that you've done it, And they go, well, we don't like to be too pushy. And I said, I totally understand that. But you have the other lot at the far end of the market who are very involved and will chat to you about, God and your beliefs and all that kind of stuff. They are proactive. And then you guys, you're not engaging.
No.
So, anyway, I said my piece. Charming ladies. And then we go and set up. A couple of hours later, the two ladies walked past, going for a tea and a pea, because it's a bit cold, probably a winter market. And I went, right, ladies, and they wander over. And we're chatting. I said, and I'm not selling you anything, am I? She goes, no, but you've come over to see me because we had a chat 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah. I said, that's all it takes is a chat.
Yes.
You don't have to talk about religion.
No.
You don't have to talk about your product.
No.
I said, I'm not being disrespectful calling your religion a product, but you are there to sell, to engage.
Yes.
And I think the penny dropper says, we could talk about the weather, anything. You're not talking about that, you're just making a connection with someone. I said, and you've proved it by you've detoured across, because I waved and said, hello ladies, where are you off to? Because I would chat to anybody. You've detoured across, I'm not selling you anything, but now we have a connection. And I think the penny dropped. So that's my thing about selling to the public.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to. There's a guy I don't know if he's done Truro, but he does big markets. They sell cakes and pastries and things. He's got a pink mohawk.
Right.
Big 6 foot something guy.
Okay.
He's I mean, you wouldn't, if you see him, you remember him.
Right.
And he had this mentality, you're not passing my store without buying something.
Brilliant.
And I was like,
Love it.
I get that. You learn very quickly. I did another one at the Royal Showground, one of their sort of undercover markets, and the stand opposite, they kind of set up for the day, and they had some wooden toys or some knickknacks, and she basically hid behind the thing, and spent a day knitting and stuff. It's like, you're expecting people to come and pour money into your pockets.
No.
And I'd be there pitching, about the weather, nice hat, like your dog.
Yeah.
Where'd you get those sunglasses? Never talking to you. Would you want to try some sticky toffee pudding? Just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, she's packing up. She goes, it was a very good market. And I'm pulling my hair out going, well, you kind of got what you deserve. Without being cruel,
No.
if you cannot expect to put up a stand, like to this, we have no traffic, we're an industrial estate. People are coming here to go to particular places.
Right.
They're not having the browse, so you don't have footfall.
Yes.
So I have to get my message across through social media.
Brilliant.
And get people to engage that way.
Yeah.
Silly videos or whatever.
Yeah.
And it works. Because that's the way you connect. I've been talking too much.
No, you've done great.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for anything else you want to add?
No, well, I've had a great
the gospel
time.
according to
Yeah. No, I'm just picking up on what you were saying about the selling is because friends of mine have just retired now, the Brownie Baker. I always use this analogy for my new traders that they've just finished supplying Eden for many, many years because the Eden chef, who is still there, came by their stall at Truro Farmers Market, tasted the brownie and said, blimey, this is amazing. One thing led to another, and he said, you're supplying brownies to us. Now, for them to have got a meeting with him, he'd have had to go through all sorts of departments and jump through all sorts of hoops, and they picked up that contract, and they've had it now until they're almost retiring now, but yeah, a good many years, and that's what I say to my lot. You don't know who's in front of you. It might be a chef like him on his day off. It might be a celebrity. We had Dame Judy Dench there last year. Was on holiday, bought off some of the stall holders. You don't know who is. And it doesn't have to be Truro. It can be anywhere.
Yeah, the biggest gig I got off Truro Market, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't even when we had the Christmas ones, and we set up for day after day, 24-hour security overnight.
Oh yeah.
The guards were, keeping our safe stuff. So look after them guys.
Yeah.
So a guy comes round, I'd give him some sticky toffee pudding.
Yeah, oh, that was kind.
You know, keep him warm, keep him going, and it's a nice thing to do. And he goes, my girl's favourite, she'll be down like tomorrow's market. I said, I'll keep some by for her. She can bang, buys them.
Oh, lovely.
Oh no, this is bigger than that. And she goes, we get chatting. Oh, you do weddings? Oh, we're getting married. Ended up doing their catering for a wedding.
Oh,
The only thing they tasted until their wedding day was sticky toffee pudding.
they knew you could cook.
But we talked, you know, look after that security guard because he's looking after our stuff. That turns into a sale, which turns into a wedding,
Yeah.
which turns into,
Yeah.
you know,
They
another load of
trusted
people.
you,
That,
yeah.
So
I'll give a few samples away like that, some of the pots away. If I've got young couples there and they're not sure and they're learning to cook themselves and all that. So what amazed me last Valentine's was the number of people that were cooking that night for each other.
yeah,
So a load of new guys there trying to impress the girls who had a great time with it. Because eating out is still nice, but Valentine's one or two of these other highlighted nights that you've got to book up in advance or they can be a bit expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So they were all having a go at home, you know, and I was trying to explain what they needed.
well, it's
to do,
yeah,
you know.
it's learning about people as well.
It
You know,
is,
you
yeah.
have done
Yeah,
decades of dealing with the public,
Yeah.
dealing with people.
yeah,
So you can pick up on, oh, young couple, they're cooking for themselves.
yeah, yeah.
That takes experience and body language and
Yeah.
the whole just meeting someone face to face,
Yes.
wandering by. You
Yeah.
can tell.
Well, I had to get people off table salt, full of its chemicals and goodness knows what, and what we'd all grown up on.
Yeah, yeah.
Moving on to what they call posh salt and all this business, and trying to say to them, well, it's actually better for you and all that.
And it's actually more old-fashioned compared to the, you know,
We did lots of tasters in the beginning.
Anti-cakey
tomatoes,
ingredients
yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
right. Yeah, that's right. Used to show them and all that sort of thing, and then they tried a thing where they used to cook the potatoes in table salt and then put the posh salt on the dinner. You know, you had to work them,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you'd give them little samples, and you'd know and they say, and you give it to them, and you think, and they say, really, yeah, go and try it. It's a bit like you with your sticky toffee. And it'll come back at you. What is it? You reap what you sow, isn't it? I think it's the old.
oh, we always
phrase.
you could planting seeds.
Yeah,
Planting
yeah,
seeds.
yeah,
You never
yeah.
know what's going to
No,
turn
no,
into
no.
to anything.
Exactly.
Anyway, on that.
But I've had a great time, and thank you very much.
No, it's been a pleasure. I learnt again.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I guessed you were proper Cornish.
yeah.
You had mentioned the music, but I didn't realise it was such a big chunk.
No, 30
And
years,
so basically, 2 careers:
yeah.
music and soul.
What I did on Radio Cornwall, just quickly to add to it, I went on there, and it would have been 10, probably 15 years ago, and about doing a career change. And David White did a long interview, and the amount of people that rung in and said, my husband wants to give up his job, he wants to go and do something. And she said, you've empowered him to go and do it. And I say to him, you can do it. It can be a bit of a shock, like I was saying, sat around at the NEC and all that. You just deep breath and think, right, I'm going to do it. I can either go home and forget it, or I can go ahead and the door is, I'm going to push that door open.
You know, it's what Hank says from Halfway House. It's we jump off cliffs, worry about the landing later.
Yes.
You can sort that out. You know, what's the worst that can happen? I would say yes to 90% of people ask me to do something. Yeah. We'll work out the details and we'll see if the budget can, works and if logistics work. But let's say yes to start with, and then we can sort it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't go anywhere, but sometimes it does. So, anyway, this is Graham.
Thank you.
From Cornish Sea Salt. You know his face, and if you don't, now you know
Goodbye.
much more about him than you did half an hour ago.
Thank you, well, mate.
Good man.
Lovely. I've had a
Thank
lovely
you.
time. Thank you.